Congressional districts to top county leadership. A lot was on the line in Texas's primary runoffs.
Yeah, and now the November matchups are taking shape, including races that could draw major attention across Texas and beyond. We want to send it over to Jalissa Garza, who is joined by Mike Yon, political science professor at Sam Houston State University. And Jalissa, there's a whole lot to unpack this morning.
Yeah, there really is, Alona. I mean, you and I were talking about this at like 4 o'clock in the morning, that there was so much to get through. But the good thing is we have Mike Yon here. Mike, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Jalissa.
So early. Let's start with the Senate race. You and I have been talking about that one for quite some time. So Ken Paxton won the Republican runoff, and he's now going to face James Tallarico in November. What does this result tell you about the direction of the Texas GOP, and what kind of race should we expect in November?
Well, I think the outcome was expected. So everybody, I think, thought Ken Paxton, particularly after the endorsement from President Trump, was expected. This margin was probably not. So John Cornyn did not have a good showing, less than 40% for an incumbent senator who's not involved in a scandal and whose opponent may be involved in a scandal. This was a very poor showing. And I think what this tells us is that the Republican Party is a MAGA party now. And we'll see that what this tells us about November is we'll see how this plays out in a general election as opposed to a primary. But you already see between Tallarico and Paxton, you already see the fists flying, and that's probably going to get worse between now and November.
Yeah, definitely. I think the gloves are off at this point. I saw the Texas Democrats already posted an image online of Paxton versus Tallarico now that match is set up. But I want to talk a little bit more about, the Texas GOP. A big thing about this was seeing the direction it's going in, electability and President Trump's influence. A lot of people, were back and forth on whether that endorsement really made a big impact. But this showed within party lines that the president's endorsement does carry weight.
Well, I think it was a calculated endorsement. He waited until the polls were all pretty much in agreement that Paxton was going to win anyway. So he got on a bus that was already headed in one direction, but that bus went a lot faster after he got on it. And I think that it is very clear after this election cycle from the outcomes in Indiana and other primaries that if you want to win a Republican primary, you have to be aligned with Donald Trump.
Do you think that endorsement will still have will it have a negative or positive impact for Paxton come general election?
Well, right now, President Trump's approval ratings are in the low 30s, maybe, depending on the poll. That doesn't usually augur well for the party. It's already at a disadvantage in midterm elections. Donald Trump's different. Donald Trump, a lot of the people who thought that he was going to lose or his party were going to lose, that hasn't eventuated. But I think this is going to be a tough hill to climb in 2026.
Now, another big one from last night was Congressional District 18. Al Green has been in office for almost as long as Cornyn, if not about the same amount of time. This race was really shaped, though, by redistricting with, Menifee and Green, two well-known Democrats put in the same district. Only one's going back to D.C. But with him defeating Al Green, what stood out to you about that result? I know you didn't seem too surprised by it.
Again, the one similarity between both those races is John Cornyn outperformed what I thought he would on March 3rd. In the March 3rd primary. Al Green did better on March 3rd than I thought he would. Both then had no momentum whatsoever. They both lost by large margins last night. And so I think this is a passing of the torch. I think you have a younger person and a person who seemingly is more interested in actually passing legislation. Congressman Green did many things, but his primary thing was to call attention to what he saw as wrong with the world. And I think what you'll see with Menifee is trying to build some sort of coalition to get some things done. But ultimately, it will be a reliable vote for the Democratic Party with either of those individuals.
Do you think going forward in November, what's it looking like for Menifee?
I think he's the odds-on favorite to carry that seat.
And so the next thing, just one last thing really quick, I want to talk about turnout. So it was low in these runoffs, but the impact is big. Why can a low turnout election end up having such a major impact?
Well, it really was low, particularly on the Democratic side, and for whatever reason, this seemed to affect the county judge race the most. So you're actually looking at only about a third of the people turned out yesterday that turned out 2 months ago. And that, I think, probably cost the election for Anise Parker. I think if more people would have come out, not just the Democratic diehards, if there had been more races across the state that would have dragged out people who aren't super reliable voters, but still Democratic primary voters, I think that could have changed the election outcome for her. It's not called yet, but she probably would not have been in this type of race had the turnout been closer to what it was in early March.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your insight. I know we can go on and on about this, Jacob and Alona, but we're going to go ahead and toss it back to you guys. But again, Mike Yon is here throughout the morning, so he'll have some more insight, and you'll hear from him too as well on K211 News at noon.
He's got such great perspective. I appreciate it. It's a great conversation, Jalissa. Thank you. We'll see Mike back in an hour with another closer look at the results. And you can see a full list of results and more coverage right now on our website, khou.com.
Time now is